Hey guys, it's Taze from the Install Bay. We're going to show you how to install one of these new Echo Master tailgate cameras on this here Dodge Ram. So stay tuned. So one of the options when installing a reverse camera on a pickup truck that we often get asked about is the tailgate camera. A tailgate camera is a camera that goes into the handle on the tailgate. So Echo Master, which is an Amp of America company, which is also Pac Audio, which is the cameras we often recommend, has these now. The nice thing about them is they've become a little bit more affordable than they were, let's say, a year or a year and a half ago. So we're going to go ahead and unbox this thing. We're going to install it onto the factory radio in this Dodge, which we'll walk you through the process of doing. And so, hey, let's get to it. So this is where the camera goes here. So we're going to go ahead and drop this thing down, start pulling some screws out. So there's two 8mm bolts that are attached to the back of the handle. So go ahead and grab the handle, just kind of wiggle it around a little bit, grab the upper handle, upper harness, just kind of lift up. And then it pops right out. So at the end of the day, all you have on the back side is the two 8mm bolts to remove. That's it. Once you've done that, the whole apparatus will come right out. Now let's take it over to the bench and compare it to our aftermarket. So what comes in the box is this bundle here. We'll go ahead and open it. It comes with a female RCA butt connector. It comes with the handle assembly here, along with the camera already mounted in it. And it comes with the wiring. Let's take a look at the two handles. So it looks like they did a pretty decent job copying it. As you can see on the factory one here, it almost looks like this is where the factory camera would go, which it probably does, which is where they've mounted their camera. So now we just need to remove this right here and mount it into this, and we'll be all set. Okay, so the lock is mounted in good. We're gonna go ahead and set this aside. So when preparing to run the wiring, there's two ends. One with an RCA and bare wire, and one with an RCA and a cool little, looks like a finished connector. This is the end that goes to the back here. This is the end that's gonna go to the front. Make sure you get that right, because nothing sucks worse than running the wire, having to pull it all back out and start over. So now what we want to do is prep this wire for the installation. And to do that, we're going to cover this up with some loom, as well as tape off any exposed stuff like these right here. This wiring right here is to do mirroring and parking guideline assist. This customer wanted guidelines assist, so these wires are already cut, and apparently it already needed to be cut to go in the reverse direction. So we're going to go ahead and make sure these are nice and covered well so they don't short out or anything like that. So let's just get to making this look good. Okay, so now we have the handle all ready to install. I got it. I got it. You can let go.
Sorry. Okay.
So behind the tailgate right here is this flat panel. And behind it is the release. So if you ever wanted to take this tailgate off, you need to unclip it here. So what this wire is going to do is come out, follow the same wire here, and then behind here is going to be our connection point, so that if they ever need to take this off, the RCA and the power will be right here along with the factory disconnect plug to make removal as easy as possible. So we have our coming from the front of the car and our coming from the camera. We're going to go ahead and connect those. We're going to put some heat shrink over them so it keeps them waterproof-ish. That way if they ever do need to move it, they will need to take a razor blade and cut it, but at least they'll be as sealed as possible. So then we'll go ahead and tuck that in there. We're going to crawl back under and zip tie it into place. The other thing you're going to need if you're connecting this to a factory radio is this guy right here. This is the backup camera interface from Pac Audio. This is the BCI CH41. This is going to allow us to integrate with the factory screen so that the backup camera will work. So inside the box we get the smart module, we get this T-harness, and we get instructions. So this thing just doesn't do backup camera, which is feature set number 1. It'll also allow you to add rear media, so if you want to add headrests or overhead. It'll also allow you to unlock the navigation system. So if these people want to be able to use their factory navigation while they're driving down the road, you can do that. And then you have this over here, feature setting number 4. Now what this allows you to do is not just add a backup camera, but also add a left and right mirror camera. And that's what these programming's for are down here. So just for case you're wondering, even though we're not doing it on this install, this here will show you how to walk through and set it up so that you can add this adapter to add mirror cameras. Back to this car, figure 1 is what we want. We've gone ahead and turned on that dip switch here. Now the one thing they don't tell you to do in the owner's manual is put a piece of tape over this. We like to do this mainly because this guy is going to be in the dash. There's a possibility that something could bump into it. Even though it's going to be mounted in place or with Velcro or zip ties or something like that, there's always an opportunity for something to get in there and screw up our dip switches, and well, we don't want that. So let's take a look at the T-harness, and it is called a T-harness because it is in the shape of a T. You have factory radio side, when you unplug the harness side, and then all these wires in the middle. In this case, we have a bunch of RCAs. So we have the camera RCA, we have the auxiliary RCA, and we have the video entertainment RCAs. So depending on which one of these you're doing, you need to unplug said RCA. So in this case, we're doing a backup camera. Now the reason why they're like this is if these features already exist from the factory, obviously we don't want to lose them. And or if you were going to add mirror cameras, you want to be able to unplug it and get a feed in and make life a little bit easier. So on the other end of the T-harness, you have all this wiring right here. Basically you have program 1, program 2, program 3, right camera, left camera. And these are all programmable. That's what this little box is right here. And they talk about all that on the last page here on what you're capable of programming these wires to do. In our case, all we're trying to do is hook up a reverse camera. Reverse camera happens to be program 1 output. The default setting is for reverse, and we'll put up to 10 amps of output to power up a reverse camera. Now the second question you guys are going to ask is, how does it know when it's in reverse? Well, that's part of this guy right here. This guy reads the data bus in the car and will tell the system that it is in reverse and go ahead and trigger the camera. So that is one of the advantages of using this. You don't have to go tap a reverse light. Not that there's any other way to do it in this vehicle, but the smart modules do at least make it a little simpler for the installation. So now what we have is we're going to need program 1, which is this blue wire right here. This is what's going to power up the camera. So we'll go ahead, and once we get this in the car, we're going to hook the red wire from the camera up to this, go ahead and ground the other end, and we're in business. It's pretty simple from that point. Now we're going to go ahead and tape up all these here, cap them off, so that they don't accidentally bump into anything in the dash. So a quick side note reel here, when we were running the wire from the front of the car to the back of the car, it ended up being about 6 feet too short. Very strange, because this was made specifically to go into a Dodge Ram. Why the cable would be short, I can only guess is maybe one of two reasons. Either maybe when they were doing this, they were working on a short bed, or a non-4-door like a 2-door, or the way Fernando mounted the wire, he excessively mounted it, which in my mind is a good thing. I have no problem with that. You know, we don't want the wire shaking loose or anything like that, so he went out of his way. Either way, something to consider when running the wire, you may need to lengthen it. In this case, we're going to lengthen it 6 extra feet so we can get it from there to here. All right, back to the install. Alright, so this guy's all set and ready to go into the car. There's 2 torque screws located up here. Sometimes there is a screw located here. This particular vehicle doesn't have one. So for the most part now we just want to remove this. Just kind of gently work it with your fingers. Come off. Next you have 4 7mm bolts holding the factory radio in. Pull out. This just clips in. It's got a swing arm on it. It's going to lift open like this. Pull out. Go ahead and plug in the harness. Plug into the back of the radio. Alright, so now this unit's all plugged in. So on the side of the unit are 2 green LEDs that are going to flash. This is normal. You want them to flash green. You do not want them to flash red. If they're flashing red, there's been an issue. So according to the instructions, 1 solid, 1 flashing is good. you should be able to put this back in, put it in reverse, and see if it works. We're gonna go ahead and start up the vehicle. We're using our camera tester. We have our color bars on so that we can make sure the screen is working. Go ahead and start the vehicle. Put it in reverse. We get our color bars, so we know we're good there. Little tip here. When you're Velcroing something down in the dash and it's got a sticker on one side, don't put the Velcro over the sticker. Because if you ever need to remove it or see what these things mean, you got Velcro over it. You go to peel it off, it's going to peel the sticker off. So if there's a non-sticker side, put the Velcro on the non-stickered side. Alright, moment of truth. Fernando, go ahead and start it up and let's put it in reverse. Now on this particular model, if you hold the arrow to the left for 4 seconds, it'll go ahead and force the image. So now you can have it on while going in forward, or park, or whatever you like. Alright guys, that brings this one to a close. If you have a Dodge Ram and would like to add a backup camera to it because you didn't get one from the factory, check out these parts from Pac Audio. We'll put links to them in the show notes so you can pick one up. Fernando, what do you have to say?
Thank you for watching. You guys can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
How many times do we do these?
5 days a week.
Non-stop action and adventure for y'all out there in the car audio world.
That's insane.
As usual, if you have any questions, you know what to ask and where to do it. You guys have a nice night, and we will see you later next time. Bye.